Welcome, thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to show you how we simulate glacial flow conditions to give students some ideas about climate disruption, and in the process we're able to make use of a really great collaborative tool in the Google Docs suite. We have students collecting data for this lab using a Google Docs spreadsheet to share the data across classes, and then the classes are actually able to do an advanced visualization of the data using a motion graph. So let me give you a little bit of information about this lab that we call the Flubber Lab. Here you'll see students conducting one of the experiments. The investigation conducts experiments to look at the changes in the flow rate of flubber due to different temperature conditions. Some of the flubber is refrigerated, some of it kept at room temperature, and some of it is heated in the microwave. We look at surface roughness to simulate the roughness of a glacial valley using sandpaper and a regular PVC pipe, and then we look at lubrication of the surface using aluminum foil versus the sandpaper and the regular PVC pipe. We do these experiments at 2 or 3 different slope levels. You can see the students conducting the experiment here for some of the warm flubber, and you'll notice that they have their Google spreadsheet open in the background. You'll see they have already collected quite a bit of data today. The Google spreadsheet is shared among classes. In this way, we have a large data set that we can actually put into our motion graph, which gives us a lot more interesting data and a lot more interesting things to talk about in terms of analyzing the data. So we're collecting the amount of time that it takes that flubber to flow down over that surface, and we're collecting the distance that it flows. Here you can see the students working with a sandpaper surface to simulate a rough surface. And in this picture, you can see the students working with a lubricated surface. And now I'm going to jump to the actual spreadsheet. So here you'll see our sorted spreadsheet. We have our data in the first column, the entity, describing the surface conditions. In the second column, we have our time. In the third column, we have the distance that the flubber flowed. And in the fourth column, we have the slope over which that flubber flowed. Now you simply go Insert, Gadget, scroll down and select the motion chart, or type in motion chart. Once you find it, you click on OK, and I'm actually going to cancel out here, but I'm going to take you to our motion chart. Now the interesting thing about the motion chart is we're actually able to set the axes. So on the y-axis here, we would like to look at the distance the flubber flowed. On the x-axis, we'd like to look at the time it took it to flow. We can also take a look at the different slopes over which it flowed. So I'm going to set the color and the size of the bullets to look at slope. Now I'm going to choose in this case to look at the cold, refrigerated flubber, the room temperature flubber, and the warm, microwaved flubber. And we'll compare those as we move through our motion graph. So when I click this, we'll see our time series start to play, and it's kind of like a horse race. The students really enjoy this part of it as they're seeing their data develop. Look at that warm flubber go over time. It's really cruising along, much steeper slope than the room temperature or the cold flubber, which are flowing at a slower rate. And that information is readily obvious to the students as they work through the lab. They're proud of collecting the data and the way it's displayed, and the fact that they can share that data across the classes and really get some good information about how flubber can be compared to glacial ice in the real world, and how increases in global air temperatures are affecting the flow rates of glaciers, and it gives them good evidence of climate change occurring. Thanks for joining me. If you would like some more information about this project, please contact me. Here's my contact information.